Alright, what's going on guys? My name is Fierce, and I'm back on Borderlands 1 with another video. Now last year, I posted my first top 10 style video, which was my top 10 tips for beginner players. Now that video has done really well for me, and I wanted to go back and dip in for seconds and just show off a couple more tips that I had for either beginner players or even some of these intermediate players that haven't played this game too recently. Just like last time, if you learned anything new or you enjoyed it at all, please leave a like, and if you really like it, make sure to sub. Okay, enough of that crap, let's get to it. Going straight into this at our number 10 spot, we have using your compass. Now if you're playing in the enhanced edition, you're going to get a mini-map and a little notification on your heads up display, but those who play with the original version, or like me, you're just so used to it, you could still use the compass to navigate your way through the game and to help you out with a couple missions. For example, if you're doing the mission part quest and you have trouble finding where the body parts are, you can see on your compass there's a little money bag, and in that direction there is a piece of loot, that being money, ammo, weapons, or in this case, a quest item. So you can use that part of your compass to guide you through those missions if this is your first time, or even for later on in the game if you're looking for loot. If you kill an enemy, you can look at your compass, and if there's a money bag that spawns, you most likely have an item. But all in all, having a little mini-map in Borderlands 1 is a great addition in the enhanced, so if you're still playing on the original version, then like big rip. For our number 9 spots, we have using slopes to break your fall. Now Borderlands 1 is the game with the fall damage in it, and having a way to kind of get around that issue, even if it was a total mistake, is kind of awesome. Now let's say you're really low on health and you jump off the ledge, then you hit the little tent. Now because you hit that slope, your fall damage is essentially restarted, and because it's just right next to the floor, you're just going to bounce off of that, slide down, and then land on the floor like nothing ever happened. Now, if you know where these slopes are, that's going to be great, but half the time you're not going to know, and even less than half the time, you're going to get lucky enough to find one. But once you kind of know how the slopes work and kind of where they are in the game, you can use them to your advantage. For our number 7 spot, this is one I just kind of wanted to take aside and then just say you can play the game however you want. And if you're either struggling through this part of the game or you're just trying to find something different to do, then bring up weapon merging. Now I've already posted a video on this on my channel, and if you haven't checked it out yet, do so. Basically how it works is you take a couple weapons and then you combine them all into one, and you could use that merged weapon to either make your game play easier, to help out your build, or just for more convenience. Now just because I know about this glitch, I don't really use it all the time, but if I just want to have fun and just chill out, I'll definitely kick on a couple guns and then just single shot most enemies for a little bit. But like I said before, you can play the game however you want. If this is something that you want to do and like doing, go for it. If you're not that interested in it, then you don't have to worry about it. We can all play this game how we want, because at the end of the day, it's just about having fun. For our number 6 spot, this one takes a bit more mental patience, and that is planning out your missions. Now if this is either your first time playing or you don't really know what to do, just keep your eyes glued to that mission log screen. The game is pretty decent at telling you what missions you're capable of doing, but if you ever feel adventurous like I often do, you're not going to really look at that and you're just going to go head first in there. At this point, I would recommend playing with another player if you have the ability to do so, but if you don't, that's fine. Just go ahead and play through the game how you normally do, and if you're just at a part of the game that's too over-leveled for you, there is most likely some other quests or bosses you could refarm to up your XP. So I'll give an example. So let's say I'm trying to go to Sledge, but I'm level 10 or 11. I can do these couple side missions to give me some XP, and then in turn I would get some gear that would most likely help me out for the next fight. So I'll enter the map, I'll do the side quest that I can, I'll come back, gain some XP, and then now that I'm level 14, 15, I can go ahead and I could kill Mo and Marley a lot easier come back to Firestone to get that fire artifact, and then now my action skill has the ability of fire, it'll make the Sledge's safe house fight a lot easier. And you can do this for early game, mid game, late game, whatsoever. Planning out your missions accordingly, usually by map, is oftentimes a good choice. For our number 5 spot, we have the read-only strat. Now, I mentioned in the last video how I posted a video where you could have a way to read-only farm for consoles. Now, my boy Hellfire already made a video on how to do this for all platforms, so if you haven't checked that out yet, go ahead and do so. But for Borderlands 1, the easiest way to do this read-only strat is after you've already saved your game, you interact with whatever you need, and you don't get the right weapon, just go ahead and down yourself. Easiest way to do that is with either a rocket launcher or a grenade, but you get yourself in fight for your life, making sure you do not activate a save station. At that point, you would bleed out, and you're going into your spawn box. At that point, you pause and then you save quit. And then you'll realize that as you hit quit, your progress will not be saved. This is what you want. And when you re-enter the game, you're going to be at your last save spot, which was right before you interacted with the bounty board or whatever it is to try to get your weapon. Moving on to our number 4 spot, we have using our Vault Hunter's movement speeds. Now this could range from just the normal grenade jumps to Brick's action skill speed glitch, or just using Lilith. But almost all of the Vault Hunters have a way to speed up their movement, even if it's a little bit. Now Lilith can just use her phase walk, Brick can use his action skill, but he could also glitch it in a way where you're going to get that permanent speed. And then Roland has his super grenade jump, where you throw a grenade at the base of his turret, it's going to duplicate or quadruplicate, and then you're just going to go off in the stars. However, Mordecai doesn't have one of those, so you can just get really good at grenade jumping to get wherever you want to go. Number 3, we have doing what I call loot runs. Now, if you're either going through mid-game or you're kind of getting close to finishing your first playthrough, odds are you're probably going to need some pieces of gear and you don't know where to go. Maybe you don't have the DLC 4 done, so you don't have the Hyperion gift shop, and maybe you don't want to slog through any of the DLCs, so you're like, man, I just need some loot, where do I get it? But what you can simply do is just go to whatever map is currently right for your level. If you're finishing up the Rakhive fight, you can either do some farming in the Trash Coast, like farming Rakhive for example, or because you're going into Old Haven for the next story mission, you can do a loot run there. And that essentially means just going through the map, opening all of the chests you can, and fighting all of the badass enemies that could possibly drop you loot. And at the same time, you're going to get XP for that. And that will help you level up as you're trying to complete normal mode or TVA gem, or just some regular XP to get to max level. Now keeping that in mind as we go to our number 3 spots, we have farming the Borderlands 1's loot midgets. Now about halfway through the game, you're going to fight Skagzilla. This is the first loot midget, with quotations there, that's available in Borderlands 1. Now you can come back to this after you've beat playthrough 2, and he will stay on your level, and you can use this as a way to get legendaries. But as you're moving over to DLC 3, you're going to get the actual loot midgets in the DLC. However, only like 3 or 4 of them actually drop loot. If you're going into Lockdown Prison, of course you can find Mini Steve, Truxican Wrestlers, and then later on you can also find the Crimson Shorty. Now those 3 loot midgets will actually drop you loot. Sometimes I've got legendaries, artifacts, or whatever weapon that they're holding. The only unfortunate side of that is because it's in the DLC 3, you're going to have to drive to these locations all the time, and sometimes that becomes a bit of a hassle, but you know, yeah, I got nothing else for that. It just sucks. Number 2 is another one of those interesting ones because it's something that you really have to take with you per each encounter that you get, and that is finding out your boss fight weaknesses. That sounds cliche as all hell, but the truth of the matter is that Borderlands 1 is a very old game. Because everything is pretty robust and pretty strict, and they did not have a lot of time to really polish out everything here, a lot of the bosses will fuck you up. Now everyone remembers their first fight with Sledge, and you probably weren't prepared and you got your butt whooped. Now if you're playing through the game and you're having a hard time trying to figure out how to fight this boss, you can use the environment to your advantage. If you're fighting Sledge and he keeps smashing you with the gosh darn hammer, just hide behind a pillar and his Nova doesn't hit you. Or if you're fighting Mad Mel trying to get to New Haven and you keep dying, just hop in a car and drive in motherfucking circles. He can't touch you. Now lastly, for our number 1 spot, and that's helping transition from the end of normal mode to TVHM. Now in TVHM is when I like to complete the DLCs, and sometimes when I'm done with playthrough 1, I'll just jump straight into some of the DLCs in playthrough 2. Now if you're doing that, you need to make sure that you're on level, because you are not on level. Like if you're trying to go into the Claptrap DLC, those buddies are going to be like level 42, 43, and you're like 35. Yeah, you're going to have a difficult time. And I've tried it all. I've tried the weapon merging strat too. That does not help that much. So there's a few things you can do. Firstly, just complete some quests that are near your level. And if you're out of that, you can go back and fight some bosses. And then maybe you do want to complete a couple DLCs. Maybe go to the Tartarus DLC, play through that in normal mode. Now by the time you actually complete the DLC, you'll be closer to level 40, and you'll be able to hop into playthrough 2 and have an easier time if you want to go straight for the DLCs. Or you could just go back through the base game, play through that for a little bit, and then eventually break off to whatever you want to do. And that's going to do it for this video. Now as always, if you guys enjoyed this video, please leave a like, and if you really liked what you saw, go ahead and subscribe for more awesome content. Let me know down below which one of these were your favorites or something you want to start trying out. Did you learn anything from this video? Let me know down in the comments. A lot of people like to sleep on Borderlands 1 just because it's not Borderlands 2, but I try my best to put out these videos to give you guys as much information as possible to make your playthroughs of this game a lot more enjoyable. So as said, if you guys enjoyed the video, please leave a like, and I'm going to see you all in the next one. See ya.